really cool to see perspective and mindset shifts in terms of it doesn't have to be complicated to work, but it can be simple and highly effective. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to today's conversation. We're going to be sharing my screen, and I'm actually not getting feedback today, so I can keep talking on through this. We're going to be going over, we call it our habit tracker or our transformation tracker. So, this is what we walk through with our health coaching members and what we've developed over the past, I guess it's been in development for 4 years, but we implemented this past year. And the success we've seen from it has been pretty incredible, pretty amazing to watch. Hey, Tom?
Yeah, no, it's been cool. I know we'll go over it, but just seeing where like what people start with, how simple it is to start, and then seeing how it progresses and how it impacts so many different areas of their life. Um, and pretty early on, like maybe it would impact something that you don't think that you wouldn't have thought that it would have impacted that. Like some people are getting promotions at their job. Some people are,
Mm.
developing a better relationship with any like just everybody that they're close with, right? It's like spilling into all these different areas outside of your own health and fitness, which those are great results too. But it's really cool to see it spill over, and that's kind of what we were all after with this type of program is that holistic health and fitness, right? And holistic results.
Yep.
So that's been really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Really cool to see perspective and mindset shifts in terms of it doesn't have to be complicated to work, but it can be simple and highly effective. So, we're going to share my screen here. Now, this is me and Tom on the screen. You can see right now because I have it on a different tab. This is what I usually see when I start the video. So now what we're looking at here is our tracker. So there's so much more that goes into this, but we're just going to give you a basic look at what this looks like. So this is an example client. This isn't actually one of the members of the transformation program, but honestly, this is usually how simple we start. So you'll notice it's color coded and there's a few emojis there to help kind of categorize what categories these habits, or we also like to call them fitness deposits, are in. So, what we'll look at is the first one. The first one is green, and green is our nutrition. And all we usually have people do is focus on one habit for a couple weeks. If they're working one on one with us, we can expedite a bit quicker. We can layer on some things based on working with getting a little deeper with their mindset and time constraints. But the goal here is for the client or for the member to get 3 protein portions in every single day. Once someone is able to do that, what they do is they click this. And what you'll notice is so we have this set as the goal of 7 deposits or 7 habits in this area of nutrition a week. You'll see the percent. And then at the bottom, you'll see the percent across all 3 habits the person has been trying to prioritize. So if we're looking at this and someone new comes in, they might look at a goal of 18 habits and think, well, that's not enough. We can almost promise you if you can stay consistent with it, it'll be enough. And you'll see in a little bit why that is. Do you have anything to add on that, Tom?
No, instead of 18 habits, I don't know, 18 deposits, I guess, is like because we're focusing on 3 habits here, right? I think you said 18
Yes.
habits, but you're focusing on 3 habits, and each habit maybe, yeah, isn't necessarily happening every single day. So that's where that individual component comes in to play as well. We'll always ask, I mean, this is maybe something that ideally we do every day. But do you feel confident doing it every day? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel? And if it's, if they don't feel very confident, they could. It's okay. Like, how do you feel about like 5 times a week? Could you do 5 times a week? And we're still getting the majority of the days in during the week. So that's where the individualization comes in. This is, yeah, by all means, just an example. So, for example, yeah, there's protein 3 times a day, moving 4 times a week. So that obviously the goal is to do four there, and then 60 seconds of stillness every day. And if we're able to get the majority of this done, what we've found, like we've maybe said a few times at least for sure, is when we get over 80% across all three of these habits. So if Matt clicked off a couple more on their fitness deposits for moving, and a couple of 60 seconds of stillness for some reason. Oh, look at that. Not adding
Not
up.
so on.
Uh-oh.
Something happened. Technical difficulties. Keep going, Tom. I'll figure it out as you go along.
Okay. Um, but yeah, it'll basically, when it is done correctly, this was one very quickly made up. When it's done correctly, it'll total everything up um, on the bottom there, and then you'll get a percentage for the week. And when people get over 80% for the week, that is where we find that people get some pretty awesome results from. And so it starts off very, very simple. This may look like not a lot, but these are some of the foundational habits that we need to make sure that people are able to do each and every week. And so once you build up some success with these, you maybe start to feel like you've got a good grasp on some of this stuff. And then we start layering things on, or some people, if you've been reading some of the different books maybe that we've dropped, or habit books, you call it start habit stacking
Yeah.
onto some of these things maybe. um, and quite often we'll like pair something like 60 seconds of stillness with something that you maybe do every morning anyway, which for a lot of people that I've been working with, and for me personally as well, it's coffee. When I brew my coffee, it's like that's my 60 seconds of stillness sort of thing. So again, that's kind of more of the individual approach. But once we've gone through week one, we can start slowly adding things onto it. So, and
Yeah.
each week, maybe add little by little by little. And then by the time you get, through the program, I know we're going to go to week 9 eventually, but I don't know if you had anything to look
Yeah. I was just going
onto.
to show on the bottom here, it's called a flywheel score. So at Greater Purpose, we talk about there's more than just the physical aspect of fitness, right? The physical, mental, spiritual, family, financial connection, and purpose, like the community aspect. So, what we have someone do when they come in, which helps us get those three starting basic habits, is they just rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these categories. And then we focus on the bottom three usually. Um, and then, like Tom said, this is what we usually end up with. And now just keep in mind, we just made this as an example person, but this is usually pretty much what someone's at the end of 9 weeks or 12 weeks, what it looks like. And what you, what actually happens as we get further and further along, habits will become routines. So as we get this built up here in this category, this is more the mental aspect than it is the just. So it's the mental aspect and the spiritual aspect, and then we can take them all down and condense them down into routines. So then we'll say someone is 80% in their morning routine, which consists of all these different things. Now you can see that if we started someone off with this, maybe they would get 100% for 1 week because their motivation is high, they're excited, but that doesn't usually last. Rarely does it last because you're relying on motivation instead of momentum, right? When you can understand why you're doing something and why it's important and be patient and consistent, you'll build momentum because this is exciting to see this add up, right? So, example, you see we've added the plate method 3 times a day. We added 2 liters of water. We added strength and training. We added mobility work, silence, God time, a get outside, plan for tomorrow, gratitude practice. Now, there's so many different habits that could go in here, and we do that based on individual person. But it's just to give you a picture of how it can add up. And as a byproduct, the transformation in people's lives have been incredible.
Yeah, this is I mean, you see at the bottom there, right? There's like you went from 18 things all the way down to 75. So it does seem like maybe a big jump. But keep in mind, this is either over the course of 9 or 12 weeks, depending on which program that you enter into with us. So it's not happening all at once, right? It's um it's a slow build, and we found that that is by far the best way to do it, because I'm sure a lot of people listening, or just in general, people who have tried how many different fitness or nutrition plans, and we've talked about it before, 30, 60 days, and then maybe you fall off and nothing stuck from it. So a lot of these habits, the whole idea or the goal is that you're able to take these habits and build that foundation to move forward with, for the rest of your life, really. And this is where it starts. It starts on that week one, really simple, and then away we go, building and building, building through week 9, week 12, and onwards. Some people stick around. Some people have done 3 or 4 cycles of
Yeah.
this program by now, and basically they've been with us since the start of it. And um, yeah, they're incredibly their habit tracker is incredibly different. And I know, like, a lot of people have said, like, they can just tell obviously physically that things are different, but there's also, like, they like present themselves in a different way, almost like when they walk into a room, they're presenting themselves differently. And that's the kind of thing that's super cool. In addition to obviously all the physical stuff that happens as well. But Matt mentioned those routines as well. So I know that is on this sheet. I think it's on the bookending tab, where if we start to stack up these habits well enough, you are consistent enough with those habits, then basically what happens is we start building out these morning routines. And then, as Matt's saying here, maybe like 60 seconds of stillness is in part of that morning routine. Maybe you've got some reading or prayer or devotional time, or maybe it's just like planning for the day or gratitude, whatever it is. Maybe there's, yeah, a few different things in there: cold showers, cold exposure of some sort. And then you have like 5 or 6 things in this morning routine that you started as, putting them as habits just in your habit tracker, but now they've moved over in as part of your morning routine. And then we can just put morning routine in your tracker. And then you know that your morning routine consists of these 4, 5, 6 things. And that's what you're able to block off every time.
Yeah. And what we found is usually, I mean, it's not a perfect science, but if someone is 75% for 3 consecutive weeks, it almost becomes habitual, right? Like a response, an automatic thing in your life. It just becomes a part of you. I think that's essentially, as you're talking, Thomas, thinking about it, is that's what happens is these habits, when done with consistency and with a deep rooted reason behind them, they start to transform who the person is. And that's why it's called the transformation program, this coaching program, because this internal transformation from the attachment of this deeper reason as to why you want to work out, why you want to be healthy, then you start prioritizing habits and routines of this healthy person that you want to become. It's like you see this person in the future, you're in this present, and then the only way to get there is by taking action. Well, how do you take action? What do you do when everything's so confusing? There's so many different routines, and everything's advertised as the perfect routine to get you out of the rut, to keep you out of the rut, to get you to those results, losing hundreds of pounds, all these different things. When, yeah, sometimes it might work for a while, but if you haven't transformed yourself as the person who's going to be disciplined and maintain these things, you're not going to be able to maintain them. And like some of the results we've seen, I mean, someone's lost over 40 pounds, right? In this, someone they feel better mentally, physically, they have way more energy, they're more patient in relationships with their spouse, their children. Um, they change careers, they've got promotions financially, it's benefited them, all these different things. Because when you're at a place of health and fitness, mentally, physically, and spiritually, everything else around you starts to catch up to that, right? It almost mimics that. And you become the person you want to be instead of just having the byproduct of weight loss, which you'll still have the byproduct of weight loss and muscle gain and better sleep and feeling more confident. But that is an extension of who you are instead of it being who you are, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a I know we got a lot of different tabs on the bottom there, and the most common ones that yeah we maybe use that bookending one a little bit later, but the flywheel score we will use basically every week with
Mm,
people. Before we even start, we've got that homework tab, onboarding homework. So that's what kind of you fill out before the program really even starts. And then there is another one on if you want to dive. Usually, I get into that maybe a little bit later with people, and I know you did get into that with people in your program, Matt.
yep.
But the purpose and mindset and purpose homework, there's a
Yep.
tab on that too. But those are all extra add-ons that we can, I guess, directions in which we can go.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, I know a lot of people with some of the advertising that we've been putting out are getting confused as to when does this program start? What's the, when does it, who's all in it? How many people are you taking? What are the times for the training and stuff like that? And it's all 100% individualized
Yep.
is all I can say. It's just tailored to you, your schedule, what kind of routines and habits you want to start focusing on, what you think will serve you the best. Because like Matt said before, there's so many of these other programs out there, but to us, the best routine or the best program that is the one that works and the one that sticks. If
Yep.
you can't find something that works and sticks, that's the combination that we need. Then maybe it wasn't the best long term plan for yourself to begin with. So that's where all this personalization, those extra coaching meetings each week come in to help keep you on track.
Yeah. And then, like you said, Tom, it's individualized because we could have we've had people come into our program who are absolutely nailing their fitness, right? They're
Mhm.
working out 2 hours a day, 5, 7 days a week. Like this is an example. Um, Mostly people who are really, really, really invested in their fitness. But then we take a look at, hey, how's your mindset? How's your nutrition? How are your relationships? And we can see that based on the habits they've been prioritizing, they have little to no time for all these other things that are actually important for helping them be healthier and fitter. And that's what the studies are showing. It's not just about exercise, it's about having this sense of purpose, having connection with people, eating well, um, all these different things. And that's essentially what this is in a nutshell. And it's a very easy way to look at a complex thing, right? It seems simple, like this seems simple and too easy, but simplicity wins. Simplicity followed with consistency wins. If we try to go too complex and it overwhelms you, well, then you wasted a lot of time. Maybe you could take some lessons from that. But yeah, if anyone is interested in knowing more about this, we sit down with people for free to see if we think it's of benefit to them. Or if you want to try a smaller variation on your own, we'll send you a free PDF of a 30-day habit tracker that we found beneficial that you can put as an example these three because habits we want to help people get healthier and fitter. We're more than happy to give you some free resources to help you get started. And when you feel like you're ready, we'll be here for you. Cool. Anything to finish off with, Tom?
Gonna say keep fit and have fun.
Keep fit and have fun. Oh, that's trademark. So
Sorry, can't say that. Um, yeah, keep fit, be
you're
be
built for a
happy, be
purpose.
healthy. There you go.
See you guys later.